This is Fred Razek at CMTrading. Today is September 4th, 2018, and today is Tuesday morning. So as we kick off the new session of trading right after Labor Day yesterday, it was a holiday yesterday. We have a bunch of economic numbers coming out, some of them very important. So we're starting off at 6:30 South African time, RBA rate statement. That's Royal Bank of Australia. We'll have a rate statement. That's an important event. We'll take a look at that as it happened earlier this morning. Then following 11:30 South African time, RBA Governor Lowe will be speaking as a follow-up to that rate statement. The Aussie dollar had gotten beaten up badly last week. We'll take a look at that as well. So at 2:15 South African time, inflation report hearings coming out of the Great Britain. And lastly, out of the United States, ISM manufacturing PMI number coming out. Now, this is the last quarter of the year, September, October, November, December. So just be aware of the fact that, for many of the indices or the future contracts like, like oil, like the indices, like the Dow Jones, you will need to roll over to the next month of December contracts. So just be aware of that as well. But let's take a look at the markets and see what's been happening.
This conference will now be recorded.
So we're jumping here into the Euro USD, and as you can see, we had a nice retracement last week back to the 16 level. Okay, we're bouncing off of this 115.84-ish level and just trading here sideways right now. So, ultimately, this, I guess you could call it the bounce or the rally from, a 113-ish level. That was a decent enough play, and I kind of anticipated that. And we were looking for the upside down head and shoulders, and sure enough, that's what we got. If you look at this, there was your head. Okay, that was one shoulder. That was your subsequent shoulder, and sure enough, we rallied right after that. Okay, so right here is actually a decent spot to be a support level for the Euro USD. So just keep that in mind on the macro level. Okay, on the larger picture. Okay, so we may see this actually continue to bounce as this has become, that second leg of it. Okay, however, it has sold off. Okay, where I would have expected it to, kind of sustain itself in the higher 116-ish level. It has not. Okay, so this may actually turn around and continue to sell off. So take a look at that as that continues to trade later today. Now, the GBP had a nice rally last week and then just tapered off, which means that there's not enough buyers to really sustain this. Okay, so ultimately you're looking for something that's sustainable, that's trending upwards, and we're not getting that here. And I think that we're going to continue to see a choppy market here and maybe test our lows again. Now, jumping into the Aussie USD, as you can see, it gotten beaten up horribly over the last couple of weeks, making lows of the year or being on the lows of the year, as we could see right here. And now finally getting that bounce from this rate statement this morning. So the question is whether or not this is going to be a dead cat bounce and we're going to continue selling off, or this is going to find ourselves a new low and we're going to continue trading within a new range. So that's something to keep an eye out as that continues to trade throughout the week. Now, the thing is that I wouldn't jump into this on the long side just right away. I would like to see it kind of solidify before jumping into it. Okay, so still it has what to show us where to go. Now, jumping into the commodities, gold not doing much, but let's jump into oil. Oil hitting $70 a barrel last week. Okay, that's a new high, for that weekly chart, and we're at that top of that range right now, 70.16. So this really has to continue its momentum to sustain this level. Otherwise, I think we're gonna be, selling off here. So just make sure that you're in it. But we are in the hurricane season. So we're entering that hurricane season. So you want to make sure that you're up to date about what's going on with the weather in the Gulf of Mexico. Believe it or not, that is really the play of the year for oil. Okay, sometimes it's a non-event, so just be aware of that as we enter that season. Now, jumping into the indices, excuse me. Now, we had a couple of nice plays last week. The Dow Jones rallied nicely above 26,000. We're just flirting here at 26,000. Now, today's a telltale sign to let us know if this is actually going to be sustainable. We're going to continue this upwards trend. Now, what is driving the market up? Well, it's Apple computers, okay? Apple making a whole new highs last week, and we mentioned this last week, and this is really, I mentioned it a couple times right here. where the market was selling off, okay? The NASDAQ was selling off, and then I mentioned it right here last week as well, okay? So you had two opportunities to buy this last week, and I called it. If you look at my last week's, my daily chart, my daily review, I said that this was not coming in, showing some relative strength, and sure enough, we bounced $28, okay, from 119, 117-ish level to $28 just in that 1 week, okay? So a lot of strength in Apple computers, mostly directed because of their iPhone, which comes to show you what a big market the phone business is, internationally. So really, it's a tremendous, tremendous push of Apple across the board. Now, the question is that will it affect the rest of the market? Okay, if we look at the NASDAQ, it's close to its highs, but it's not breaking out higher, okay, which is a little bit disconcerting. If we jump into Amazon, for example, it's on its highs, okay, 2013, okay, which is a beautiful number. So it is, when you see the stocks are breaking out on its highs across the board, which is going to drive the rest of the indices higher, okay, and sure enough, that's exactly what we've been getting. And this has trickled effect, obviously, to the JSC. Okay, now if we look at the JIC, it's been trading within this range. We're looking at a daily chart. Okay, it's been trading within this range since February. Okay, finally breaking it out here. Okay, on the upside. So looking at this week, I would imagine that we would continue, this upward surge as this has really corrected itself. So we're trading right now at 52,300. And this is what's the beauty of trading these ranges, is that, if you are able to catch it down here at 49,975, it's a great little rally to 53,800-ish level. Okay, so tremendous, tremendous push on that above. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, getting a little bit stronger and gapping up. Okay, as we're looking at the daily chart right now, that's a 4-hour chart. 72.33. Okay, now this is really wants to rally. We want to push it up higher. I just need to see some continuation. So right now we're at the middle of these two ranges. I wouldn't jump in it right now, but if it does continue its sustaining, we could see it closing in at 78.41. So if you are in a position with it, you're on the right side, just ease yourself off as we get closer to that resistance level. This is Fred Razak. Want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.